Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's up, YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. So today I wanted to compare the two quarterbacks, Daniel Jones and Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky is actually a quarterback that I liked out of college. That's kind of changed, but we'll see how his career goes. Now these two guys, you can kind of say are in the mold of the inconsistent quarterback. Daniel Jones though is in his second year. He hasn't really played a full year. And Mitch Trubisky is going into his fourth year. So this seems like this is more Mitch Trubisky solidified as this type of a quarterback that I saw, I think a year or two ago, throw 5 touchdowns in a game. Last week threw 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. And then other times he just looks bad. He just looks plain bad. Daniel Jones, the same thing last year. He would have games where he would throw 3 interceptions. He would fumble. And then he'd have other games where he'd throw 4 or 5 touchdowns. Again, this is Daniel Jones' second year. This is going to be his 14th game coming up. So, like I said, that's the difference between the two guys. Both of these guys are quarterbacks who you have to watch out for. They're mobile. They can run for first downs. They can extend plays. So they're both in that new mold of the quarterback who's mobile enough to get around and you cannot ignore them, or they can beat you with first down after first down after first down if there's no one in the box to wait for the quarterback to scramble. So I'm going to start off with DJ here. There's not going to be any DJ disrespect here. All right, there's no Daniel Jones disrespect on this channel. This is a guy who has a new head coach, new offensive coordinator, new offense, no off season. He got pressured 22 times last week, which was the most in the league. He was hit 8 times last week, and he did not fumble the football. The first interception was a great play by TJ Watt. He pretended like he was blitzing, and he got back at the last second and got an interception. That happens to the best of quarterbacks. That's just, that's usually a batted pass. And quarterbacks get their passes batted all the time. That second pick, after DJ's interview yesterday, he said he was trying to throw the ball away, which makes me feel a lot better that he wasn't trying to force it into 6 Steelers. So now when you give these statistics context and you see that the first interception was a great play by the defense. The second play was another great play by the defense because he was trying to throw the ball away and Bud Dupree was able to get to him and hit his arm. Now, he should have probably just taken the sack, but it makes me feel better that he wasn't trying to force it to Slayton behind, 5 Steelers. Also, you have to keep in mind, the Giants had 6 rushing yards besides Daniel Jones. He was actually our leading rusher with about 22 yards. He stood in the pocket all day with no threat of a running game. He ended up being PFF's 4th highest graded quarterback as far as not having negative plays on passing plays. The Bears defense, they're going to have Khalil Mack. Robert Quinn looks like he's coming back this week. So Khalil Mack had 6 pressures last week by himself. If Robert Quinn comes back, that's going to be someone on the other side that will be probably going against Andrew Thomas, which last week Andrew Thomas did a pretty good job on Bud Dupree, but the right side of that offensive line pretty much was a liability. And Khalil Mack being over Cam Fleming is going to be an issue all game. And that's something that we're going to have to, just realize it's probably going to be something that's going to affect the game. That pass rush was able to get 5 quarterback hits, 1 sack, and there are 2 cornerbacks playing really well. Cal Fuller, I don't know how well he played last week, but as far as advanced stats go, their rookie Jalen Johnson, I think, only gave up 1 catch last week. So that's something to be acknowledged. But also, you have to consider their opponent last week, which was Matthew Stafford without Kenny Golladay. So that makes, he's the guy that has, him and Darius Slayton are tied with 10 touchdowns since last year, and he didn't even play week 1. So Kenny Golladay not being there definitely affected them. They also was almost about to give up the game-winning touchdown to DeAndre Swift if he didn't drop the ball in the end zone. So the Bears defense, although they're very talented, they were open to giving up plays last week. They were open to also giving up the run, but I'll keep this about the quarterbacks. So next I want to look at Mitch Trubisky. Like I said, he's been up and down his entire career. He's had times where I said, he's finally here. He's finally the Mitch Trubisky I thought that he could be when he was coming out of college. And then he just goes away. He ends up in a quarterback competition with Nick Foles, which I ultimately think they picked the right quarterback. Nick Foles might have been a little bit safer and might actually be the right quarterback for the Chicago Bears as far as playing it safe and allowing their defense to be great. But Mitch Trubisky gives you a higher ceiling. He just does. So check this out. Mitch Trubisky had the second highest rate of positively graded passing plays, but he also had the third highest rate of negatively graded passing plays. So that kind of lends itself to me saying he's up and down. He had a lot of what PFF calls big time throws where they have like 2 yards or 1 yard of separation, and he's just, he makes some great throws in that fourth quarter. 8 for 10 for 89 yards and 3 touchdowns. Real clutch fourth quarter. And if he can continue that momentum, then he's going to have a chance to have a good game against this Giants defense. However, this defense looks to be improved from week 1. Leonard Williams, Dexter Lawrence, and Lorenzo Carter all were able to get pressure on Big Ben last week. They ended up getting 5 quarterback hits, 2 sacks. The problem with this Giants defense was the pass rush started to stop in the fourth quarter, and this is because the pass rush is coming mostly from the interior. Those are big guys, and how often they were on the field, by the fourth quarter they were pretty much gassed. This, of course, can change if the Giants can get some semblance of a run game, which I doubt that Saquon will be held for less than 6 yards. Also, with the Giants secondary, James Bradberry looked great last week. The rookie Darnay Holmes held his own for the most part. He gave up, I think, 1 catch to Juju, but other than that, he did pretty good last week. However, the kind of older young players that we have, old young, they were the ones who were giving up catches. The guy we got from Denver, Isaac Yadam, gave up a touchdown, and Corey Ballantyne out there on an island against Juju and against James Washington, he was giving up catch after catch. Also, something great that the Giants pass defense did was they limited the big plays. The longest pass play was 28 yards. Second longest pass play was 21 yards. And the 28-yard pass play was, a pass on the sideline where only Chase Claypool could get the ball. It was like an amazing catch. He barely got his feet down. So that's encouraging that they only gave up that 28-yard pass play in the first quarter. And after that, they didn't really do much as far as down the field. And that's where Mitch Trubisky was able to make his splash plays. And if we make him have to do what Ben Roethlisberger did, which is methodically go down the field, I think we'll have a shot of forcing some turnovers, which the Giants defense still is looking for their first actual turnover. We got one on special teams, but I'm looking for our defense to be able to force some turnovers against Mr. Trubisky, who is accident prone. Let's be real. He is accident prone, and he's the reason why the Bears give other teams chances because of his play. So in conclusion, between these two quarterbacks, who's going to have the better game? The great answer, the most informed answer is you don't know. These two guys could go at each other and put up 40 points each and, look absolutely great. Or you could have 2 horrible games and it's a defensive battle. Or, one guy loses his team the game and the other guy looks pretty good. At the end of the day, you don't know what you're going to get. I am a little encouraged by what Daniel Jones did last week as far as limiting the mistakes. And I was able to explain what his mistakes were last time. And Mitch Trubisky, no interceptions, even though I think they dropped a couple last week. So it should be fun. The Bears defense obviously is more likely to force turnovers because of how good they are. But with these two guys, you just never know what you're going to get. And I just can't wait to see on Sunday who has the better game. You guys let me know who you think will have the better game down in the comments. If you made it this deep into the video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Anyways, it's Diggy546, and I'm out.